Good morning. What a cool spot. It's amazing. Sit down. Amazing facility. Great to be back in Arcadia. We got some great announcements here today, and I'm excited to be joined by the President of the Florida Senate and your state senator, my friend Ben Albritton. We also have the Secretary of the Department of Commerce, Alex Kelly. We have Representatives Nix and Oliver. We have Mayor Judy Wirtz-Strickland from Arcadia, Mayor Melissa Hendricks from Lake Butler, City Manager Larry Sessions of Live Oak, and City Manager Deanna Nogler from Webster. And I want to thank all of them here. I'll talk about why we're here in a minute, but I do want to provide an update. I think many of you saw we had 3 Floridians killed last week in a crash that was perpetrated by a guy driving a tractor trailer that was an illegal immigrant to this country. He got a driver's license, commercial driver's license from Washington State and, of course, California. Didn't speak English, and he tried to do a U-turn where it's official use only, and the other car didn't have a chance because it's just totally reckless and out of control driving. He is in custody in California, and I've sent our Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, who's Green Beret, he knows operations. He is over there in California. He's going to be taking possession of this illegal alien truck driver. We're extraditing him back to Florida. He will arrive in Florida today, and he will get the book thrown at him very shortly after that, I can guarantee you. So stay tuned. You're going to be able to hear more for that. But how ridiculous is it that somebody would get a commercial driver's license who doesn't understand the language of this country, doesn't understand road signs, doesn't understand these things, and the feds, when they had him detained a couple days ago, they did an English test, and he failed abysmally, not even close. Like, not only a little English, no, he was terrible, and yet he's getting these commercial licenses from these sanctuary states, and in the U.S., we all kind of have our opportunities to run our states the way we want. We've chosen to be the free state of Florida, and I think most people here appreciate that. California, Washington State, they're choosing much different pathways, and I think it's been very destructive to the people there. That's why people have fled those states. But, their policies and their recklessness spills over to other states in this country, and it's spilled over, in this case, to the state of Florida. So the 3 Floridians are dead, in part, because of the recklessness that we see out on the left coast. And, I think it needs to stop. But ultimately, it's going to require Congress to get off its rump and actually do something about this. Defund sanctuary states. Defund sanctuary cities. Rein in the excesses that we've seen in these states time and time again. And I hope that happens, because we cannot just sit and allow these tragedies to occur on and on and on. It's got to stop. We're here today to talk about our support for rural communities in Florida. And our state is, we've been ranked #1 economy 3 years in a row by CNBC. We have a major, we've had, I think, 80% GDP growth since I've been governor, which is almost doubling the entire size of the Florida economy. And we're not done yet. We've, of course, been a very fast-growing state. Part of it, we were open during COVID. People were fleeing lockdowns. They also fled crime and BLM rioting. They embraced our education choice. There's a lot of reasons why people have chosen to come to Florida. We've seen more investment. We have AAA credit ratings from Fitch, S&P, and Moody's. Since I've been governor, if you take all the debt in the history of the state of Florida, that we've accumulated over 180 years, thanks to the budget that I signed a couple months ago, we will have paid off almost 50% of that just in my tenure as governor, and we're going to do more, and I know Ben is supportive of us doing more in the future on that. So we now have the lowest amount of state debt per capita of all the states that have debt. Of course, no income tax, and we're working on the property tax, so we're going to get relief there too, so be ready. And number one in higher education, we've been number one in education freedom, parents' rights. All these different things are really, really important. But I will tell you, me as governor, it's easy when you're in governor in a big state, because when I got in, we had like 21 million people. Now we have like 23.5 million people. And I'm not asking people to move here. Trust me. Some governors are like, oh, please come to my state. Like, no, I'm happy with what we got, but it's a free country, and so people come. I know a lot of my supporters, when COVID was happening, they'd see these California license plates showing up. They got freaked out, so we don't want to import Berkeley to Florida. It turns out a lot of these people were fleeing those policies and were really embracing our policies. But be that as it may, the reality is people have voted with their feet. We've seen the state continue to thrive. And when you have those types of numbers, 23.5 million people, as a governor, just politically, if you're running for real, if you just focus on like Miami and Tampa and a handful of areas, politically, you probably, can be fine just doing that. But that wasn't the way I did it. In my first term as governor, I became the first governor in the history of Florida, that at least that's been recorded, to do public events in all 67 Florida counties. We've made investing in our rural communities a priority because I think ultimately it's an important foundation for the state, not just economically, but culturally and historically as well. And we have done huge initiatives up and down this state, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's job training, you name it. We've been there and we've gotten it done, and we're going to keep on doing that. One vehicle that we have for strategic investments is the Florida Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program. This is a program since 2019 that has awarded more than $138 million in funds to more than 120 small city and rural communities throughout the state of Florida. And part of what makes us strong is that we understand the opportunities that we have in our rural communities. Yes, someone like Ben can talk. He knows agriculture. It's a big, important part of the backbone of the state. But I will tell you, in some of these rural areas, very attractive for manufacturing, very attractive for a lot of other things that people are going to continue looking to do. So today, I'm proud to announce that we're going to continue to build off this momentum and this success through our Florida Small Cities CDBG program. And we are going to reward a number of small cities really significant awards. And first, and maybe most importantly, because I'm here, we are pleased to announce that we're awarding $6.4 million to the city of Arcadia to upgrade the existing biosolids processing system at the William Tyson wastewater treatment plant. The city's sole wastewater treatment plant is aging and frequently failing. It poses both environmental and health risks, and so this award will fund the critical upgrades for the plant's biosolids and aeration systems, and it'll help move the city toward regulatory compliance and will benefit about 8,000 local residents. So I know this has been something that people have wanted to see, and we're happy that we're able to deliver. We are also pleased to announce we're awarding $5.9 million to Florida City to make wastewater treatment plant improvements at 9 service areas throughout the city. Due to ongoing deterioration, the city's sanitary sewer system requires major upgrades across 9 service areas. This project will benefit nearly 12,000 residents in Florida City. So Florida City South, now we go $4.5 million north to Live Oak and North Central Florida to rehabilitate low-income homes, as well as making upgrades to the city's potable water system. $3 million grant will fund the upgrades to the water system, An additional $1.5 million grant will rehabilitate or replace at least 21 homes for lower-income households throughout Suwannee County. We're also doing $2.89 million to the city of Webster to install a new master lift station and a new emergency generator. This is something that will come in handy. $2.8 million to the city of Lake Butler to replace water lines throughout the city. $1.7 million to the city of Port St. Joe to make sidewalk, landscaping, irrigation, and underground utility improvements. $1.2 million to the city of Green Cove Springs to install stormwater piping, swales, and inlets. $1 million to the city of Bluntstown to replace aging and unreliable water and sewer lines. $1 million to Liberty County to complete improvements at Veterans Memorial Park. $1 million to Santa Rosa County to construct a retention pond at the Whiting Aviation Park in Santa Rosa, creating 10 jobs and retaining 10 existing jobs. Almost $1 million to the town of Esto to complete improvements of the town water plant and to conduct water line replacement activities. We also have, for housing missions, $1.5 million to Hamilton County. We have America's 250th anniversary coming up next year, so we're already doing things. And one of the things I'm doing, around the country, you have some of these jurisdictions, they're tearing down statues of the Founding Fathers. Well, in Florida, we're putting up new statues of the Founding Fathers, and so we've already done one for George Washington in the state capitol, which is amazing. We did a Thomas Jefferson that had been mothballed by another state because he was politically incorrect, I guess, and we put that in Jefferson County, and then we're going to do Hamilton County, Madison County, Franklin County, Monroe County, and, I may even airdrop some Founding Fathers into Gainesville, Broward, I don't know. We'll make it interesting. So $1.5 million to Hamilton, $1.5 million to Lafayette, $1.2 million to Columbia, $950K to Madison, $900,000 to Hendry County, $850,000 to St. Lucie County, $750,000 to Levy County, and then finally $912,000 to Town of Malone, which is really, really good. And we're looking forward to working particularly with those counties named after the Founding Fathers to be able to advance the ball there. So this is meaningful. We'll present the checks here in a minute. But first, I want to be able to bring up a couple speakers. And so, I think if you look at what happened in the most recent legislative session, I don't know that there's ever been more support for rural Florida than what we saw in that legislative session. And the reason for that, quite simply, is because of Senator Ben Albritton. He's really been a champion for the communities, not just here in his district, but the rural communities throughout the state of Florida, and that's evident by the legislation and the budget priorities that we saw come to fruition. So I want to invite him up to be able to say a few words.
Say first and foremost, as a sixth-generation Heartland resident and a fourth-generation citrus grower, I want to say, man, it's good to be home. It is good to be home. And I look out through this crowd, see a lot of friendly faces, a lot of family, a lot of folks. I want you to know I love you. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for your encouragement, your support over the years. Couldn't do this without you. I just couldn't do this without you. Governor, I want to point one thing out. Yeah, I appreciate your kind words, but look, at the end of the day, it's easy for me to be supportive of rural Florida because it's who I am. That is who my family has been for 6 generations. You have been consistent, though, to be supportive of rural Florida. Rural Florida is full of freedom-loving patriots. And the fact of the matter is you are beloved in rural Florida, and it is because you've been consistent, and I want to thank you for that. You know rural Florida exists. You know rural Florida is important, and you also know in rural Florida that agriculture matters. And those communities matter. It evolves around agriculture. You completely get that. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody in the room appreciates that. Thank you. So, lastly, I want to leave you with this. Everything I just said is true. Everything I just said is true. And the Florida legislature and this governor, we know that rural Florida exists. At the end of the day, there are 31 fiscally constrained counties in this state, and what that means is every single day there are some places in the state to where they have to try to figure out how to spend their money and how to be responsible and thoughtful. Hello? How to be responsible and thoughtful with that. Many times in those 31 fiscally constrained counties, they don't have two pennies to rub together. There is no choosing between a chicken and the egg. They don't have either. They want one of the two, but they don't have it. So I bring that up because the numbers that you're talking about here may not be substantial relative to other investments around the state, but they are strategic, they are key, and at the end of the day, they really matter. They really matter. Every single dollar that gets allocated to be in support of rural communities makes a difference. And the magnitude of that impact is pretty difficult to measure when you start with nothing. So, right? Yeah. So, Governor, appreciate your focus on rural Florida and not just saying it, doing it. So thank you for that. Friends and family, love you, appreciate you. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the encouragement over the years, and I look forward to continuing to serve you as long as the good Lord allows. Thank you.
Well, Governor, thank you so much, and Senate President Albritton. Thank you so much to Alex Kelly, Florida Secretary of Commerce. Governor, thank you for your leadership and support and direction to really embrace and support rural counties throughout the state. All 20 of the grants that you discussed today for 19 different communities in the state really do, the values that President Albritton you just described really do hit those values. They really are core to these communities, and they really are meant to catalyze economic development. So thank you, Governor. Thank you, President, for your focus on rural communities. I want to maybe just cover two quick additional points that I think are really important. First, here in DeSoto County for the project for the city of Arcadia, this was one that we at Florida Department of Commerce really kind of took personally, took under our wings, because a little more than a year ago we were here. We were in the city. Hey, Beth, I see you. We were here in the city visiting. We were doing a rural heartland tour. The Central Florida Regional Planning Council took us around several counties, and our last stop was the water treatment facility in the city of Arcadia. We got a great briefing and understanding as to how critical that is going to be to catalyze economic development. And then we were back here a few months later, and Beth actually pulled us aside. Beth Karsten pulled us aside at a Rural Economic Development Initiative meeting and said, "Hey, we're running short on this project. We might need some help." And so we started that dialogue. We started that process. And so when applications came in, this was the first one that we grabbed, and we said, we got to get Arcadia there. So it became very personal, but it's really because of great partners here locally who, local and state partnership. It just shows to the points that Governor and President you were making that sometimes these dollars, it covers a gap that you don't always realize is there till that critical moment. And it just makes a difference. And it's, again, state and local partnership really matters. The other thing is just all 19 of the communities, Governor, that you went over that are getting grants today, we really, reflecting on the storms of the last couple years, Idalia, Debbie, Helene, Milton, we really proactively reached out at your direction to a lot of those communities, particularly rural communities, have been impacted by those storms. All 19 of these communities had impacts from at least one of those storms. 13 of them had impacts from 2 of those storms or more. So this was also really a part, as governors you do every day, to really build up the resiliency of these communities to make sure that whatever those impacts were, they don't repeat themselves, and these communities are stronger and better the next time. So again, Governor, thank you for your leadership. Mr. President, likewise, and everybody here, just thank you for your partnership in getting today and supporting these grants. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So why don't let's bring everybody up. We're going to do the checks. We'll snap some quick photos. So City of Arcadia. We got City of Lake Butler. Live Oak. And we have Webster. You guys can go around my side. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. You guys come over right Now, I told them, like, I don't know how the banks in Arcadia are. That's cardboard. They can try to cash that. I do think the actual check's in the mail, so stay tuned on that, and we'll get to it. So very important. Really appreciate. Happy to support rural Florida. And I'll tell you, like, I just did it because it's the right thing to do. But you know, they were great for us. Have always been very supportive of everything we've done. You know, we just did. We opened up a deportation depot in Baker County, right by Jacksonville. You know, we have the one in Alligator, Alcatraz. And, you know, they go there, they get processed, and then they get removed by DHS, which is, you know, what we want to see. And so we did this thing, you know, it's right next to Duval County where Jacksonville is. And someone was like, oh, are Baker County residents, you know, going to be mad that you're doing a deportation depot? It's like, I got 90% of the vote in Baker County, so probably they're probably excited about it. And I think if you look at, like, these rural counties and look at back that, you know, that election, you know, we were getting Saddam Hussein margins. You know, Saddam would, like, you got to vote for Saddam, well, that wasn't us. People just did it. They were 88, 90, 92% in all those counties. So we appreciate it, and we're happy to be supportive. Okay, take some questions real quick. Yes.
Governor, a new report from James Madison Institute calls Florida's election system a gold standard, especially since 2020, when they say it was the laughing stock because of the hanging
2000.
2000.
Yeah.
2000, sorry. So 25 years later, your thought and your reaction, is there anything we could approve going into 2028?
Well, I think it's important to say how far we've come. So look at what we've done in Florida. No ballot harvesting, it's banned. No Zuckerbucks, we banned it. I established, with the help of the legislature, an election crimes office in the Office of the Attorney General. So if an illegal alien votes, they get prosecuted now. If somebody votes in New York and in Florida, they get prosecuted now. We've had the most robust enforcement of any place in the country. And when you vote in Florida, you know, we know how many people have voted as the election goes on, and then at 7 o'clock, we stop it. And you're either in line, or your ballot's been received, or that's it. You're not going to have votes coming in for weeks and weeks. And so on election night, we publish the results. And you're able to know who won the election. We don't do like California, where it's kind of like a rolling process, like election day, but then we get votes 2 days later, a week later, 2 weeks later, and this candidate's winning, then they lose, and all that other stuff. I think it's a total fraud what they do in California. I don't think that there's any safeguards. And so Florida, I think, is the gold standard. I'm always open to suggestions about what we can do better, but I think on all the things people cared about, cleaning the voting rolls, we did it. Voter ID, we did it. No ballot harvesting, we did it. No Zuckerbucks, we did it. Prosecuting people that violate election laws, we did it. And so I'm proud of that. We know how many ballots are cast, we count them, and then we report the results. So it's been really good. I know we always do some tweaks here or there, and if there are things that need to be improved, I'm all ears. But like, compare where we were in 2000, but even 2018, you know, when I got elected, there was chaos in Broward and Palm Beach counties. I came in and removed those supervisors as governor, and we instituted a lot of reforms. But 2020, we had the most transparent and efficient election in the country, and there were a lot of badly run states that year, of course. 22, most transparent and efficient election in the country, and 2024, we had the most transparent and efficient election in the country. So I think that's a great track record. Why would they not be? Yeah, I mean, like, it's, you know, we don't say like rural communities is only one ethnic or not ethnic. I mean, you know, you have different folks in different parts of the state, and we're a very diverse state. And so, you know, to say we're given to Arcadia and it's only going to be limited to some, that's just not how we operate. So we're, you know, we're good. Now, you know, some people will try to draw this, or they'll try to draw the connection, say, oh, well, if someone's Latino, then, oh, they must be an illegal alien. And that's false. That's not true. I can tell you in Florida, you know, our Hispanic American population, not only very patriotic, very strong on borders. They want strong borders more than anybody. I can tell you because I was the one that led the charge to ban sanctuary cities. And people say, oh, you can't do that. Hispanics won't like it. Hispanics liked it more than anybody else in the state of Florida. Overwhelming support. So some of these misnomers that get thrown out there, I think, have not been accurate. And those are certainly flawed assumptions that I've never subscribed to. And that's why we've been really strong on law and order. We've been really strong against illegal immigration. We've got a lot of support from folks across different ethnic lines as a result of that. All right, guys, you have a good one. God bless everybody.